Welcome to Let's Talk About Live. This week we'll be discussing the intelligence of malfunction, chapter 7 from my newly available for pre-order book, Migraine, Root, Reclaim, Rise. So welcome. Let's make a start by opening the space, lighting the candles in honour of the energetic intentions that are tuned into. You're very welcome to join me in the lighting of a candle or 3 candles, but I will be lighting them on our behalf, so no need to. So lighting the first candle in honour of time, the second of space, the third for energy. Time, space, energy. And if you'd like to join me in a lovely settling in meditation, just to give us chance and space to allow us to arrive more deeply and settle into this circle style format, which will be a live reading, making space for some gentle reflection and honest conversation. So if you'd like to join me in closing your eyes, alternatively gaze to a space in front of you, or even as I've been doing just before joining here, looking out the window. Whatever you prefer, whatever you choose, this is your space, your time, your moments. And let's start by finding our breath. Finding our breath where it is in this moment as it is. Perhaps we find our breath rushed, hurried, quick, short. Perhaps gifting some attention to it opens up a little space for it to slow down a little, for it to open up. We're not necessarily looking to breathe in a certain way or change, bring about any change to it or fix it. We're looking to meet ourselves as we are in this moment, breathing in the way that our bodies already are. Like I say, that excuse me, that may open up for a different experience. We might continue breathing gently, steadily as we are, even if it's rushed, fast, shallow. Notice whether you're breathing into your chest, whether you're feeling the rise and fall. Might help to bring your hands to this part of your body. Perhaps you're feeling the breath in this region of your body, or maybe taking one hand to your belly if that feels good to you. Just connecting to where you feel the rise and fall of your breath in this moment. Perhaps it's in the chest, the belly, maybe a bit of both. Perhaps connecting with our breath helps us to connect or get a sense of other noise, whether that's inside the room, outside the room, or even inside our head. Again, we're not looking to fix anything or change anything, not even judge. Is it being a right way or a wrong way? Simply witness, simply observe. And we can use our breath to come back to our body and back to the room that we're in if we have chosen to close our eyes, and if that has taken us away a little bit to some place else. Maybe bringing in a little bit of gentle movement as you come back into your body, back into the room that you're in. Oh, maybe a stretch. Oh, it's good to be here. Good to be here. How does it feel for you to be here? Didn't always feel good for me, so it does in this moment. I'm honouring that and accepting that, recognising that, celebrating that. And it doesn't even always feel all of those things either. So how does it feel for you to be here in this moment? I did sense a little bit of frustration come through actually while I was meditating, and that's why I brought in the noise, whether it was outside the room, inside the room, or even inside our head. Another noise. One time it was very, very, very loud, very noisy inside my head. Today it was a little bit of noise outside the window, some gentle noise, just nothing sharp, shocking or anything like that, just somebody outside. And I noticed it, a little bit of frustration stir within it. So yeah, how are you arriving? And welcome again. Welcome once more to the chapter reading. Today, the intelligence of malfunction, bringing with it a reminder that your body isn't broken, and sharing with you some insight as to why I do believe that is. Yes, I do bring that with that a belief, but also the research that led me to this insight, awareness and understanding that was evidence-backed, scientifically based, medically acknowledged, psychologically understood, and all through a trauma-informed lens. And I hope that's what you come to find and feel and experience. This is a re-recording of this chapter that I started to read live last night or the evening before recording this, if you're watching this another time. And as I was reading some of this chapter, I felt kind of fear kind of surfacing and arise. What if I'm not believed? What if I face and undergo and endure repercussion because of this? And that's something I've been sat with this morning. Actually, I've been drafting a piece of writing that will land in Substack at some time, hopefully sooner rather than later. Something titled along the lines of how to deliver a message without falling apart. And that's just something I've been feeling my way through since kind of bearing witness to that emotion arising on reading this live yesterday, and having that sense of awareness, but trying to feel my way back to safety, and trust that this is meeting you where you are. Trust that those of you who are ready and wanting and willing to hear it are going to be the ones here who are hearing it. I'm by no means here to convince you of anything. In truth, a lot of this pathway one, which is the pathway that I am reading to you here, in a live reading with all its gentle reflection alongside and honest conversation coming up with it, is about awakening through struggle and seeing through the old paradigm. So as I've been sharing with a few of you recently, I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm if anything, this body of work will be unearthing what you already know to be true. It won't be teaching you anything you don't already know or aren't already aware of. It just might be helping that to surface a little bit more, bringing it up into the light, to be seen a bit more clearly. to be a bit more consciously understood, because some of this might have been, we might have been aware of it on some level, but it might have been entirely unconscious. A lot of it was for me. So yeah, and this has been the feedback as well that I've received from the beta readers, those testing out the body of work and the framework. So let's start by, or I'd like to start by reading a poem I wrote last week called The Messy Middle. For those of you who've been with me on Substack reading my blogs, posts, notes, you'll know that at the time of recording this, I've just spent the previous week slap bang in the middle of the messy middle, in all the darkness, the heaviness, the discomfort, the pain. The only difference, what I've been here many times before and for much longer as well, you know, the weeks, it wasn't just a week or even days, it was months, years. So I'm no stranger to any of this. The only difference is that I've been able to show up from this place, giving voice to my experiences in notes. And here is one of the poems that I wrote in this place I'd like to share with you with this reading before I go into reading the full chapter. The Messy Middle, gifting myself some space to sit in the messy middle. It is hard, uncomfortable, painful, messy, and yet the insights are there, the feeling, the knowing, the clarity, all readying themselves for release, and still the need to perform, to get it right, to perfect, rearing its head once more, asking for my attention, for me to see it, to witness it, to feel it. Right now, it feels never ending. Letting it be is the hardest thing. Perhaps because doing something about it has always felt easier. But maybe for today, there is nothing to do. Just space, just presence, just me, sitting here in the messy middle. The intelligence of malfunction. Why your body isn't broken. The body whispers before it screams. Pain is not punishment, it is information. When pain is taken as proof. I spent most of my life convinced that everyone knew something I didn't. It wasn't just that people looked like they had their lives together. It was as if they had been handed a manual on how to be a functioning human adult. Things like how to cope, how to navigate life, how to regulate themselves, how to understand what they were feeling and what to do about it, how to not fall apart. It seemed like everyone else had access to instructions I had somehow missed, and that I was the one that was being left behind. In my second to last year of primary school, I realised that everyone knew the alphabet. I felt like I was the only one who didn't. I taught myself in secret so that I could catch up. So when migraine attacks began, when the pain got louder, when my body collapsed under pressure, I didn't even know I was carrying. I didn't interpret it as a message. I interpreted it as proof. Proof that I wasn't built right. Proof that something inside me was fundamentally wrong. Proof that I was missing what everyone else seemed to already know. And perhaps the hardest part, I thought it was my fault. They were doing life right. I was doing it wrong. I thought if I could just be stronger, better, more resilient, more disciplined, more normal, maybe my body wouldn't be attacking me. Maybe I wouldn't be in so much pain. Maybe I'd finally understand what everyone else seemed to effortlessly get. I took the pain I felt as confirmation of a story I had been telling myself since childhood. Substack writer Alyssa Davis, who writes for Humans Navigating Care and Power, captures this perfectly. CPTSD is wild because I can spill coffee and my brain's like, well, we've confirmed you're a fundamentally broken person. It's not, oops, a spill. It's, look at the evidence you do not deserve to exist. All over a $4 iced latte. When I read that, I thought, yes, that is exactly what chronic pain feels like. A nervous system that mistakes small signals for existential threats. A body that responds as if everything is life or death. At some point, maybe it was. You are not the exception. This chapter is for the part of you that feels that same way. The part that still suspects everyone else has a manual and you are the exception. The part that believes your symptoms are evidence of inadequacy. They're not. They are evidence of the pressure you've been carrying, often silently, for far too long. Because here is the truth I wish someone had told me years ago. You are not the exception. You are the evidence. Evidence that the way you survived has cost you. Evidence that your body never betrayed you. It has always protected you. Evidence that what we call malfunction is often the highest form of intelligence a body can offer in an environment that refuses to change. Let us pull this apart gently. We are raised in a culture that teaches us symptoms equal failure. Pain is a problem. Fatigue is laziness. Overwhelm is weakness. Migraine is malfunction. When the body is understood. Neurologist and published author Oliver Sacks observed that migraine is not a random event, but a patterned neurological experience involving the whole system. Yet the only connection my neurologist made between my mental and physical health was that experiencing anxiety or depression would lower my pain threshold. It was the explanation available, the textbook answer. Not because it captured the full truth of what I was living, but because it didn't fit within an existing framework of understanding. On paper, this framing is not incorrect. Emotional distress does influence pain perception, but when presented in isolation, it quietly collapses a complex adaptive nervous system response into a simple cause and effect relationship. It shifts attention away from cumulative overload, unmet needs and environmental mismatch, leaving the person in pain carrying an unspoken conclusion. If I could just feel differently, my body would behave. This is not a failure of individual clinicians. Most are working with the tools, language, and models they have been taught, inside systems that reward efficiency over nuance. But when explanations stop at pain thresholds and neurotransmitters, they can unintentionally reinforce the idea that the problem lies in emotional weakness rather than physiological intelligence under strain. One of the most damaging myths people with migraine absorb is the idea that they are bad with pain or are making it up. This belief reveals far more about how our culture understands pain than it does about migraine itself. Adaptation, not failure. People often assume that those who live with chronic pain and migraine are fragile, intolerant, or unable to cope. In truth, many function more like endurance athletes than weak bodies. They work, parent, think, and make decisions while navigating pain levels that would bring someone else encountering such levels for the first time to an immediate halt. The nervous system is not weak, it is overworked. And the person living inside it has learned to carry more than most people ever need to. Acute pain and chronic neurological pain do not exist on the same scale. Treating them as if they do is part of why migraine remains so profoundly misunderstood. We treat the body like a machine. Input, the right habits, supplements, medications, diet, and mindset, and it should behave. And if it doesn't, well, something must be wrong with you. But this worldview collapses the moment you begin to understand how the body itself operates rather than how we think it operates. Because the body is not a machine. It is a living intelligence, a sensory processing miracle, a complex ecosystem that adapts constantly to keep you alive. Migraine, as brutal and unfair and life-consuming as it is and feels, is not your body breaking. It is your body compensating. It is your body communicating. It is your body protecting you with the resources it has. Symptoms are not disobedience. They are survival. They are loyalty. They are the body choosing life when no other option remains. From this angle, what we see in chronic symptoms is not failure, but installed adaptation. When the body is exposed to the same conditions over time, stress without recovery, demand without support, stimulation without safety, it learns. Just as animals after migration sleep or metabolism when their environment changes, the human nervous system installs patterns designed to preserve life. Hypervigilance, shutdown, fatigue, pain, migraine. What was once reduced to a lower pain threshold reveals itself in context as a nervous system that adapted too well for too long. These are not random malfunctions. They are strategies the body adapted to survive conditions it could not escape or change. They persist not because the body is stubborn, but because it is loyal. Every adaptation carries a grief, the grief of what the body had to give up to survive, the grief of unmet needs, ignored rhythms, and silenced truths. Healing does not begin by removing adaptation, but by honouring what it had protected. From function to collapse, where the illusion cracks. In the chapter before this one, we explored the illusion of function and how so many of us learn to appear high functioning while internally burning out. We get good at coping, performing, pushing through, smiling while suppressing, managing while ignoring, carrying loads we were never meant to carry alone. We tape ourselves together with caffeine, adrenaline, and willpower, hoping no one notices the cracks. The illusion works until it doesn't. When it collapses, what rises is often labelled malfunction. The headaches, the sensitivity, the fatigue, the shutdown, the spirals, the pain. But here is the pivot that changes everything. Malfunction is not the opposite of function. Malfunction is the consequence of forced function. Migraine does not appear out of nowhere. It is the moment the body can no longer uphold the illusion. The body's survival algorithms. Your body is more sophisticated than you've ever been taught. It does not do random. It does not do meaningless. It does not break without reason. Every symptom has an origin. Every pattern has a purpose. Every flare has a context. When the system is overwhelmed, under-resourced, or stimulated, it shifts into survival mode. Sensory hypervigilance, inflammation, shutdown, hormonal imbalance, neurological sensitivity, pain response, metabolic strain, cognitive overload. What if these are not failures? What if they are adaptive responses? Responses that once kept you safe. Responses that made sense until they didn't. Migraine is not the system rebelling. It is the system saying, I cannot keep doing this. Please listen. When adaptation becomes unsustainable. In evolutionary biology, survival has never been about strength or endurance alone. Species persist not because they are the strongest, but because they are the most responsive to change. Adaptability, understood as the capacity to adjust behaviour, physiology, and strategy in response to shifting conditions, is what sustains life over time. The human body is no exception. Animals adapt to their environments, not through force or moral judgment, but through biological intelligence. When conditions change, they change with them. Migration routes shift, fur is shed or thickened, bodies slow down. Hibernation begins. Some become nocturnal. A polar bear does not interpret the cold as personal failure. A desert animal does not apologise for needing shade. In the natural world, adaptation is recognised as survival wisdom. Human bodies operate by the same principles. Yet we are taught to override our instincts in service of productivity, endurance, and social approval. When the environment becomes incompatible with the body's needs and adaptation is not allowed, when early migraine signals are overridden to meet work, family, or social demands, or requests for rest, reduced stimulation, or support are ignored or punished, the body expresses its intelligence through symptoms. Fatigue, pain, overwhelm. What we call malfunction is often an adaptive response asking to be understood. The strategies your body developed were never meant to be permanent. Pushing through everything, minimizing your needs, being the strong one, being the good one, never resting, never slowing, holding more than you were meant to hold, performing wellness instead of receiving support. At some point, the body reaches a limit. That limit is not malfunction, it is honesty. I've been compensating for too long. This is the hinge of the book, the place where the illusion of function ends and the illusion of cure begins to unravel. Because once you understand the symptoms are not betrayal, but communication, the idea of curing yourself starts to fall apart. You do not cure communication. You listen to it. And listening leads directly to root causes. It was never your fault. This is where shame dissolves, because the belief that something is wrong with you was built on a misunderstanding of how healing happens. What was once explained as emotional fragility was, in truth, a body carrying more than it was ever meant to hold alone. You did not fail. You did not miss the manual. You were not born defective. You did not cause your pain. You are not weaker than other people. You were surviving. You were adapting. You were enduring, and your body was doing the same. The pain is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you have been strong for too long. Listening instead of fixing. If malfunction is intelligence, the next step is not force. It is partnership. Not control, but collaboration. Not how do I stop this, but what are you trying to show me? The body does not speak in the body does not speak in sentences. It speaks in sensations, in patterns, in tension, sensitivity, and pain. Learning to listen is the doorway into the 5 pathways of self-authorship, the 5 pillars of true health, and the root cause work this body will guide you through. When a body is no longer misunderstood, it no longer needs to shout. Malfunction as map. Your symptoms are not setbacks. They are coordinates. They point toward what has been out of alignment, what is out of balance, toward what needs tending, toward what was never your fault, toward what is ready to heal. Malfunction is not failure, it is guidance. it is wisdom. It is a map. And once you understand this, you are ready for the next chapter, the one that dismantles the cure myth and leads you toward healing at the root or roots. Your body is not broken. It has been waiting for you to understand it. And now for the gentle invitation that accompanies each chapter throughout Pathway 1. Let's together take a breath. And if you would like to, place a hand on your heart, your belly, or wherever your body quietly guides you. And as we continue to gently breathe in and gently breathe out, simply notice. As we began, and once more, we can do this with our eyes closed, or taking a gentle gaze, a space in front of us or ahead of us. Or if we prefer, by gazing out of the window. As we simply notice and perhaps ask ourselves the question, is there a part of me, even the smallest, that feels a little more understood? Is there a part of me, even the smallest, that feels a little more understood? And then staying with the breath, is there a part of me that feels a little less broken? Is there a part of me, even the smallest, that can start to see or begin to see myself as whole, just as I am? Whole in body, whole in mind, whole just as I am. And within this space, is there a part of me? Again, speaking to what might be even the smallest part, that feels a little less alone. Is there a part of me that feels less alone? If the answer to one, even one, or any or all of these questions is yes, then please know that that is enough. And be reminded that you do not need to fix anything. You do not need any answers. Simply opening the conversation is healing. This is where everything begins. And as I was sharing earlier, this is what this book is about, particularly and especially Pathway 1. awakening through struggle as we begin to see through the old paradigm. Everything is by invitation. Nothing is set in stone. All of this, the purpose of this, is to invite us into conversation. Let us have a conversation together with one another as well as with ourselves. Dear listener, thank you for being here. You make a difference. And as you might have already garnered, the chapter that we'll be visiting together in circle style format next time is the cure myth. And a further remembering of the intelligence of our bodies. I look forward to being with you in this space next time. For now, let's close the space by blowing out the candles in honor of the energetic intentions that we opened this space with. Time, space, energy. Your circle is now closed.